You know that we have starting our syllabus of machine design on my YouTube channel named as Engineer Naveen Gaud. So I expect from you that you are doing well for your studies because the theoretical exams are near. Today we will study about introduction of gear, and later on we will also discuss about classification of gear and the types of gear. So we are start with the introduction of gear. So dear students, you all hear about the gear. So gear is basically a device used to transmit power from one shaft to other shaft. Okay, so gear is a machine member used to transmit power from one shaft to other shaft, or it is a circular in shape and it has number of teeth on it, and number of teeth on one gear is matched with the number of teeth on with another gear, and then the power is transmitted. So it is highly efficient, and the power loss is minimum in this case. In the case of belt and pulley, the power loss is high because the belt is slip over the pulley. So gear do three things. One thing is that it transmit power. Second thing, it reduce the speed or it increase the speed. And third one is it also reverse the direction. Okay. So you have get the idea of gear. Now, students, we will explain about the classification of gear. Basically, gear is majorly classified in three types. First is according to the axis of the shaft, or the arrangement of gear on the axis of the shaft. So, on the basis of according to the axis of the shaft, the gear may be of three types. First one is parallel shaft gears. Second one is non-parallel, non-intersecting shaft gears, or third is intersecting shaft gears. So first is parallel shaft gears. So on the basis of parallel shaft gear are of three types. First is spur gear, second one is helical gear, and third one is herringbone gear, and it is also known as double helical gear. Okay, we will explain about these gears later in our session. So the second one is, that is the second type, is non-parallel, non-intersecting shaft arrangements. So on the basis of non-parallel, non-intersecting shaft, the gear is of only one type. That gear is worm and worm gear, and worm and worm wheel, we can say that. And third one is for intersecting shaft, those shaft which are intersecting to each other. On the basis of intersecting shaft, the gear is only one type, that is bevel gear. Okay. Okay, one more gear we also discuss later, that is rack and pinion, and it is also in the category of parallel shaft gear. Rack has infinite number of diameter and pinion have the non-diameter, which is used in steering of automobiles and the lathe machines. So students, this is our first classification, which is based on the axis of the shaft. Second classification is according to the peripheral velocity of the gear. According to peripheral velocity of the gear, the gear may be divided in three types. First one is high speed gear. Second one is medium speed gear, and the third one is low speed gear. And the third classification is on the basis of gear made, or we can say that manufacturing of, on the basis of manufacturing of gear. Okay, so according to the type of gear, it is of three types. First one is external gear, the teeth are on the external. Second one is internal gear, that is the teeth is in the inside of the gear. and the third one is rack and pinion arrangements. So these are the three classification of gears. So now after that, now we will discuss about the types of gear. Majorly gear are of six types. From all the classification, the gears are of six types. First one is spur gear, second one is helical gear, third one is herringbone gear, and fourth one is rack and pinion, fifth one is bevel gear, and sixth is worm and worm wheel. From now we will explain these number of gears one by one. So first we will discuss about the spur gear. So students, if anyone ask you about the spur gear, so what do you say? Spur gear, the teeth on spur gear are straight teeth and they are parallel to the axis of the shaft. They are parallel to the axis of the shaft, and the axial load in this type of gear is minimum, and they are most efficient gears. Okay, so we also explain about their diagrams later. So second one is helical gear. So in the helical gear, the teeth are inclined about the axis of the shaft. They are not straight. So that type of arrangement of gear is known as helical gear. Okay, and third one is herringbone gear. So I will show you the diagram for the herringbone gear. So this is the diagram of herringbone gear. The arrangement of teeth for the herringbone gear is as shown in the diagram. So students, this type of gear is also known as double helical gear. As you see in the figure or in the diagram that there is double helix. In the helical gear there is only a single teeth, and in this there is a double helix. Okay, that's why this arrangement, due to this arrangement, this type of gear is known as double helical gear or herringbone gear, because in helical gear there is only a single line of teeth that inclines, and in this there is a two line of teeth that are inclined, and this is due to for removing the axial thrust from one shaft to other shaft. So students, I think you will get the point, or you will understand the topic. Herringbone gear, we will discuss about the fourth type, that is rack and pinion arrangement. So students, as you seen in the diagram, there is a small circular piece that is known as pinion, and in the downward there is a rack. So pinion is rotated on the rack. So this type of arrangement is used in the automobiles in the steering system. When you rotate the steering, your wheels and tires move in the angular portion. So the rotary motion is converted into linear motion with the help of rack and pinion arrangement. So fifth type is bevel and bevel gear. So this type of arrangement is used for the non-parallel shaft. This type of arrangement is used for non-parallel shaft, non-parallel but intersecting shafts. So in this type of gear, the arrangement is as shown in figure, and I also show you the separate diagram for this bevel gear. So shaft 1 and 2 you seen, there is two gear, that is one is red in color and second one is green in color, are meshing, and you see that these two shafts are intersecting but non-parallel. So if we transmit power at an angle of 90 degree, we use these type of gears, that is bevel and bevel gear. Or we can say that if we transmit power at an angle, at any angle 60 degree, 70 degree, so that type of arrangement or that type of power transmission, we use different bevel gears. So you may get the point of bevel gear. And next one is the worm and worm wheel. So worm or worm wheel is the type of gear that is non-parallel non-intersecting shafts. So you see that these shafts are non-parallel and non-intersecting. So upper portion is known as boron and lower portion that is of wheel type is known as boron wheel. So if we transmit power between two shafts which are non-parallel, non-intersecting, so we use boron and boron wheel for transmitting power. Okay. So students, you will get the points which I will explain you. The different type of gear, that is first one is spur gear. This is used for parallel shaft. This is also helical gear. This is also used for parallel shaft. Herringbone gear. This is also used for parallel shaft. So these three types are of parallel shaft gear arrangement. And next one is for rack and pinion. This is also, we can say that, parallel shaft arrangement. And the fifth one is for non-parallel but intersecting shaft, and the sixth one is for non-parallel non-intersecting shafts. You will also hear about the spiral gear, spiral bevel gear. This in the bevel gear there are different types of gear or different type of bevel gear. So these type of bevel gear are used for transmitting power at certain angles. Okay. So now students, after the explanation of types of gear, now we will discuss about the different terms or terminology used in the gear, or we can say that you have a topic named terminology of gear in the syllabus. So students, in the given diagrams you have seen that there is a pitch circle on the top. After that there is a tooth profile that is known as involute, and after teeth profile we have base circle, and after that hole depth and addendum, and after that there is a root, and there are different names are written on this diagram. Okay, so first of all I will explain about the profile. So smaller in size gear is known as pinion and bigger in size known as gear. So we use P for small gear and G for bigger gear. In every arrangement, if the gear is small, we known that small gear as pinion, and if the gear is bigger, that is known as gear. Okay. So students, first of all we introduce you about the pitch circle. So pitch circle, what is pitch circle? When the teeth of pinion is meshed with the teeth of gear, and the where they touch from the point, when the touch started from that point is known as pitch point. When the teeth of pinion meet with the teeth of gear, that meeting point is known as pitch point. Okay, and the line passes through these pitch points. The line passes through these pitch points are known as pitch circle. I again explain you what is pitch point, where the teeth of pinion mesh with the point where the teeth of pinion mesh with the teeth of gear is known as pitch point, and the line passing through these all pitch points are known as pitch circle. So students, you will get the point or you will understand about the pitch circle. Now after that we will explain you about the addendum circle and dedendum circle. So what is addendum circle? The circle passes through the top of the teeth. The circle that passes through the top of the teeth is known as addendum circle, and the circle that passes through the bottom of the teeth is known as dedendum circle. That means if the circle passes through the top of the teeth is known as addendum circle, and if it is passes through the base of the teeth, or we can say that bottom of the teeth, that is known as dedendum circle. So there is also a one term, that is addendum and dedendum. This is different than the addendum circle. So what is addendum? The width or radial distance above the pitch circle. The radial distance above the pitch circle till teeth is known as addendum. The radial distance above the pitch circle till top of the teeth is known as addendum. Similarly, the depth below the pitch circle till bottom of the teeth is known as dedendum. Okay, so these two terms are also important for gear terminology. Next term is circular pitch. So what is circular pitch? So students, circular pitch is the distance between, or we can say that the distance between first pitch point to the corresponding next pitch point. Circular pitch, we can again explain you, the distance between the first pitch point to the corresponding next pitch point is known as circular pitch. Okay, and after that there is a word known as clearance. What is clearance? When two teeth, that means one teeth on pinion and one teeth on gear meshes, there is also a gap is seeing during the meshing. That gap is known as clearance. When the gear is completely meshed with the pinion, there is a gap between these two teeth. That gap is known as clearance. Okay, that gap is known as clearance. That gap between the two teeth. Okay, or we can say that the gap between this type of gap is known as clearance. Okay, so one word is used here, that is pressure angle. So what is pressure angle? It is maybe denoted by theta or alpha, as different textbook have showing different notations. So what is pressure angle? So pressure angle is the line of action of two gears that meets at the tangent circles of two gears. Line of action of two gears that meets at the circles of two gears, and that makes an angle with the normal. That makes an angle with the normal is known as pressure angle. So next is working depth. So working depth is that the depth which or when the teeth of pinion in touch with the teeth of gear only. The clearance is not involved in working depth. So clearance is the difference. So working depth is the only depth during which the teeth of pinion in touch with the teeth of gear. That depth is known as working depth. Okay. Next is circular pitch. Circular pitch is also known as pitch circle diameter. So that is also explained earlier. That is in the first part we have explained about the circular pitch. Okay. What is base circle? Base circle is the circle or line which passes through the base of the gear. That is known as base circle. So pitch circle diameter, the gear diameter is also known as pitch circle diameter. The gear is defined by, or the gear dimension is defined by pitch circle diameter. And what is pitch circle diameter? Pitch circle diameter is the diameter of the pitch circle. Pitch circle diameter is the diameter of the pitch circle. Okay, so we have learned many terms about the gear terminology, and I also explained two more terms about the gear terminology. That is, the one is the face and second one is the fillet. Okay, what is face? the portion of the teeth above the pitch circle, the portion of the teeth, the side portion, that means the side portion of the teeth above the pitch circle is known as face of the teeth, is known as face of the teeth, or the portion of the teeth below pitch circle is known as fillet, or we can say that root of teeth, root of teeth, or the surface below the pitch circle is known as root of the teeth. Okay, students, you will get the point about the gear terminology. There are many more terms about the gear terminology. So you will learn from your textbooks. If you have any doubts, you may comments in the video and I will explain you about that later on in our next session. Okay. Now, students, next topic is velocity ratio. So, you seen in the diagram there are two meshing gear. One has 60 number of teeth, that is the bigger in size, and second one is a pinion that have 30 teeth and shorten in size. As I already explained you that the shorter gear is known as pinion and bigger gear is known as gear. Okay. So students, what is velocity ratio? So velocity ratio is denoted by V1 by V2. V1 is velocity ratio for bigger teeth or driver, we can say that, and V2 is velocity ratio for pinion or smaller gear. That is equal to teeth on gear 1 divided by teeth on gear 2. Okay. Similarly, it is also equal to speed of pinion divided by speed of gear, or is equal to angular velocity of gear 2 divided by angular velocity of gear 1. So students, you will get the points easily. Now, velocity ratio is also known as gear ratio. So I will give you an example of the velocity ratio. So everyone students knowing about the how about bicycle works. Everyone students know about the bicycle and how it works. So students, in the bicycle there is two gear used. One is bigger gear and second one is smaller gear. So bigger gear in the bicycle is the gear and second one, that is smaller gear, is known as pinion. So in bicycle, in bigger gear there are more number of teeth as compared to pinion. So if we rotate bigger gear one time, then the pinion rotates many times. That depends on number of teeth. Okay. So if we discuss about this diagram, given diagram, there are 60 teeth and 30 teeth. So how we get the velocity ratio? 60 divided by 30 gives you the velocity ratio, that is 2. So if the bigger gear rotates one time, then the smaller gear rotates 2 times. So it totally depends on the number of teeth of the gear. If number of teeth on bigger gear is more and number of teeth on smaller gear is less, then the smaller gear rotates more. If we rotate one time the bigger gear, then smaller gear may rotates more times. So with the help of increasing or decreasing the number of teeth on gears, we may reduce or we may increase the speed of the speed of output shaft, or speed of the other shaft which we are transmitted. So I think you may get the point of velocity ratio, or you may understand the point of velocity ratio. Okay. So here in the given formula, N1 and N2 is used for speed of the gear, N2 is used for speed of pinion, and N1 is used for speed of gear, and W2 and W1 is used for angular velocities of the respective gears. After that, there is a gear used, that is idler gear. Okay, so idler gear is used for changing the direction of the gear. Okay, so you know that if one gear rotates clockwise, the other gear rotates anti-clockwise. As I show you the a diagram for the same, as you seen in this velocity ratio diagram, one gear rotates clockwise while the other gear rotates anti-clockwise. So this is this type of arrangement is for all gears. If one gear rotates clockwise, then the other gear rotates opposite to it, that is anti-clockwise. If we want to get the output is also clockwise, so for that we use a idler gear between these two gears. Okay, so that's the work of idler gear. In this arrangement or in this diagram, the idler gear gives you the clockwise direction in the output shaft. So first gear is rotating clockwise and the second gear, that is idler gear, rotating anti-clockwise, and we want clockwise movement of the output shaft. Then the third gear gives you the clockwise movement. Okay, so idler gear have only the work of giving you the desired direction. Okay, then and one more diagram is shown in this figure or in this diagram, that is rack and pinion arrangement. So it transmits rotary motion into linear motion. When you rotate steering, your wheels are rotated, that is the wheels are rotated linearly. And there is a one more diagram of helical gear. This is the diagram of helical gear. And in helical gear, the teeth are at certain angle or inclines to the axis of the shaft. This is known as helical gear. Next, this diagram show you the gear failure, or we can say that this type of diagram is taken out from finite element analysis method. So finite element analysis method, in this diagram you have showing some red spots. So there is two red spots in the gear teeth. Okay, one red spot is on the middle of the teeth and one red spot is on the bottom of the teeth. These portions are known as, the bottom of the teeth portion is known as bending stress or will produce bending stress, and this type of that is in the middle of the teeth, that produce contact stress. When the teeth of pinion is in touch with the teeth of gear, produced contact stress, and when they move along, then they touch in the second red spot. That spot is known as bending spot. So these two spots are most important for designing purpose. If we have to reduce these as we can, we have to reduce these spots or stresses as much as we can in during the manufacturing process. Okay, your numerical problems of the different topics which we have earlier done. Thank you all.